Hey everyone, this is Friedel Hacker AJ Raven. I'm here with my recap and review of Digimon Adventures, the anime, episode number 60. And I really enjoyed this episode because, again, it focused on Joe. Joe is one of my favorite characters from the anime, along with Takeru being number one. And then this episode also featured Mimi, which I wasn't expecting at all. So Joe and Mimi in the same episode, of course I was going to enjoy it. Anyway, we start with the beginning of the episode and we see that Joe is taking the Digimon, Kabukimon and everyone else away from the hot springs, and they are walking through a whole lot of cold. We don't necessarily get an explanation about why they had to leave in the beginning of the episode, but you can kind of tell that something must have gone wrong with the hot springs again. So as they're walking, the Digimon, of course, are losing energy and they're dropping on the ground. And Joe ends up dropping on the ground as well. And being the little drama queen that he is, he starts talking about how the heavens has forsaken him and the group. And while he's contemplating his life, and basically, I guess he's getting ready to die, we get Blimpmon entering the scene, and tantana, on the Blimpmon, we have Mimi and Palmon. And again, I wasn't expecting Mimi to be part of this episode, but she's here and I enjoyed it, and I was like, you know what? At least it's not Taichi, because I'm one of those viewers who end up getting tired of Taichi basically appearing in every episode. So I really appreciated the writers focusing on Mimi and Joe in this one. And while Mimi is helping Joe and the rest of the Digimon onto Blimpmon, we get to see this pirate ship, and on the pirate ship we have Olegmon. And yeah, so basically Olegmon is supposed to be the antagonist of this episode, but we end up getting an explanation about why he ends up doing that he is. So moving on. We get an explanation from Mimi about why she and the rest of the class from the Digimon school are in Blimpmon. Apparently, their principal, Babamon, wanted the kids to go on a field trip in order to see the rest of the areas and how big the continent is. And that's why Mimi and the rest are in the Blimpmon. And apparently, the rest of the Digimon are actually calling Mimi Sensei. So I guess she got promoted. What happened to my voice? I have no idea. Trying to clear it. So anyway, Mimi basically tells Joe about why that they are on a school trip, and they ended up meeting Joe by chance. And Joe, and this is where Joe tells Mimi about what happened. So yeah, the hot springs end up being like all of the water ends up going away. There aren't any hot springs anymore. They don't necessarily know what the reason is. And this is where Kabukimon tells Joe that according to a rumor or story, there is a very warm place in a certain direction, so they need to go there. And Joe is like, you know what? I promised to bring these Digimon to a warm place, so I lead this group. And that's what made Joe and the rest of the Digimon walk through all of that cold and all of that stuff. So while Joe and Mimi are talking, this is where Olegmon's pirate ship ends up attacking Blimpmon. And Olegmon is like, hey, where's your leader? And this is a scene that made me laugh out loud. Mimi ends up hiding under Joe's snow coat, and she ends up controlling Joe in the sense that she makes it appear that Joe is the one talking, even though she's the one talking, and she presents Joe as the leader of the group. The entire scene made me laugh. So, of course, the Digimon plan to run away because Joe is like, you know what, if we can just get Blimpmon up in the sky where Olegmon's pirate ship can't attack us, it will be a very good thing. And Olegmon just wants food because, again, I appreciate the writers giving Olegmon a bit of a layer, a bit of a motive. He isn't necessarily just an evil Digimon for the sake of being an evil Digimon. So as Blimpmon is running away, apparently they don't have any weapons on Blimpmon. Like, Blimpmon has weapons, but basically, Principal Babamon was being stingy and she didn't give Blimpmon the necessary ammunition. So Olegmon's pirate ship ends up firing these cannons at Blimpmon, and this is where, like, I can't for the life of me remember this Digimon's name. It's very, very long. So basically, I'll call him like Trumpet Toadmon. He ends up using his attack to create a shield and destroy the cannons from hitting Blimpmon, and Blimpmon is able to go up in the sky so that the pirate ship doesn't attack them anymore. But the trumpet-bearing frog Digimon ends up losing its balance and he ends up falling. And Joe and Gabumon also end up falling. Palmon tries to save them, but it's too late, and they're falling into the ocean from a very, like, it's quite high. And I was like, you know what? If Joe ends up hitting the water from such a height, he's going to die. But turns out that Legmon is able to catch them in the net, and Joe ends up falling on the Digimon's stomach. So I guess that helps break his fall. So Joe and Gabumon are put in this cage in the kitchen. Of course, Joe and Gabumon are able to run away, and one of the Digimon tries to capture them, and they are running. But that particular Digimon, like, because he's very hungry, he falls to the ground because he doesn't have any energy left. And this is where Joe realizes that, yup, Olegamon's crew has run low on food. They also didn't see any food while they were in the cage in the kitchen. So while that's happening, of course, Mimi and the rest are coming back to save Joe, because of course Mimi would do that. And as they're getting ready to attack Olegmon's ship, they notice that the frog Digimon has been tied to the front of the ship, so they can't attack. And this is where Olegmon is like, you know what, Mimi, I'm going to trade my hostage with you for food. And while they're talking, Legmon is like, you have only 10 seconds to decide. This is where Joe enters, and Joe is like, I have to do this. Oh, before I continue, I really forgot about the scene, even though I'm the one who took the screenshot. Anyway, yeah, we basically, while talking to the prisoner that was chasing him, Joe learns that Legmon is the one who decided to take the ship and take all of the Digimon on the ship away from the island, because apparently the island that they were in, it's dying, and Legmon promised them to go to a new area. And while they were sailing the seas, they couldn't find any food, they couldn't find new land, so that's why they're running low on food. So anyway, while Legmon is counting down to 10, Joe stands up, and Joe is like, you know what? This is my chance to shine. I'm the leader of the group. Basically, the group that he's talking about is the one that he was with at the hot springs, and he's like, you know what? I'm the one who's going to protect everyone. And this, I also liked Joe's thinking that, like, there have been a lot of moments where Joe needs a whole lot of being saved, and Joe is like, you know what? This time I'm not the one who's going to be saved. I'm going to be the one that's going to save everyone, and that links to his crest of reliability. So Legmon and Joe decide to have their battle on a giant glacier because they can't fight on the ship because the ship will break. Joe comes in with Ikakumon. Of course, Ikakumon isn't able to do anything to Olegmon. Then Joe comes in with Zadimon, and Zadimon is able to put up a fight against Olegmon. I really like the choreography of the fight, where Zadimon ends up throwing his hammer, and while Olegmon dodges the hammer, Zadimon ends up coming in with a body slam, and the hammer comes in from the ground. Like, it's a very, very well choreographed scene, but Olegmon is way too strong, and Olegmon is like, you know what? I can sense that you guys still have a lot of energy in you, and yeah, it's up to you if you want to admit defeat or if you want to keep on fighting. And this is also where Olegmon actually apologized to Joe for taking them hostage, and because Olegmon is the type of Digimon who has a whole lot of pride in himself, so Joe understands that whatever Olegmon is doing, he's doing it for the betterment of his crew. And while they're down, this is where Joe is like, you know what, I can still fight, I still have to save everyone. Again, the crest of reliability is coming into play. And this is also where Zadimon remembers how Joe, when he is doing something for someone else, when he wants someone else to be reliable, see him as a reliable person, this is where Joe ends up unlocking a whole lot of strength, not only in his partner Digimon, but in himself as well. And we get a flashback to the episode where Joe was able to use Zadimon's hammer. So yeah, that reliability, that activates the crest, and we see Zadimon ends up digivolving into Vikemon. And I really liked Vikemon's design and his digi-evolution. It was cool. And Vikemon comes in, goes to attack Olegmon, and it's a very good fight. There's a whole lot of flashing on the screen, so be careful of that if you aren't a fan of bright flashing lights. And also, I have to say, if you guys notice these two chests on Olegmon that actually act as his shoulder pads or shoulder armor, apparently there are two Digimon spirits in it, which he can also use as a weapon. One of the Digimons, I guess it's named Suitor. suitor can basically lie to the person about granting a wish, and then they can basically manipulate basically wrongly interpret the wish in order to attack the opponent or something. I'm not really sure, but yeah, basically these two Digimon can actually, the other Digimon, I actually forgot, the other Digimon can actually take the opponent to Jotunheim, if I remember correctly. But yeah, I was expecting those two Digimon to come out, but apparently they only come out if Olegmon is facing a very powerful dark opponent, which we know that Joe isn't. But yeah, I would have preferred the two Digimon spirits, or whatever you want to call them, or spirit weapons coming out of the trunk. But it is what it is. So anyway, Vikemon is able to defeat Olegmon by using his Arctic Hurricane attack, and this is where Joe is like, you know what, a deal is a deal. So basically, the deal was that whoever wins, he'll be able to act as a leader, and the person who loses will be their minion, or whatever you want to call it. So because Joe won, Joe gets to order everyone around, and this is where basically Joe orders Blimpon to help Olegmon's ship, and they basically end up reaching this new island where Joe is like, you know what, Olegmon, you and your people can stay here, and it's warm, you don't have to worry about food. And Olegmon is like, yeah, you are a real leader, you are a shogun. And a whole lot of Digimon are appreciating Joe and what he did. Again, the crest of reliability coming into action. Again, the trunks are more clear here in this picture. You can see these locks like keyholes in it. So that's basically weapons that Olegmon can also use. He took out his axes from his arm braces, which we saw in this episode, but the two minion Digimon, the Dark Digimon, we didn't get to see them come out. So we see Joe achieving the crest of reliability, so his mission is done. And this is where Taichi arrives at the end of the episode, and I was like, you know what, I'm okay with Taichi arriving at the end of the episode. And he's like, hey guys, what happened? And Joe is like, yep, it's a long story. Now apparently, according to the preview of the next episode, it's going to focus on Takiro and Injimon, again my favorite characters, so I'm looking forward to that episode. Let me know what you thought of the episode. I think that this episode did show Joe being reliable. Other Digimon were relying on him to take them to safety, to give them food and all of that stuff. Of course, it could have been better, but it is what it is. And apparently, this anime is only going to last for 66 episodes, so 6 more episodes to go. And we are going to, and when it comes to new Digimon content, we are getting a Digimon Tamers, not Digimon Tamers, my bad. We are getting a Digimon 02 movie, and we're also getting a new anime, which is basically Digimon Ghosts or something. I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure if I'm actually interested in a new anime, because I actually thought that we were going to get a reboot of Digimon 02 Adventure, but we are getting a movie instead. So I'm not really sure why they ended up doing a reboot in the first place. Anyway, let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Until next time, stay happy, stay safe, stay blessed. See you guys later. Bye.